Hello, and welcome along to the stream. Today's lunchtime stream is one in which I just try to get a few things done, as per normal. So the last couple of streams that I've done have been focused in and around Cake.Recipe and trying to, or rather starting to update Cake.Recipe to include some breaking changes, because we knew that there were things that we wanted to change, but also adding in some new functionality. So one of the things that we were working on Monday night stream, just as we came to a close, was right now in version 1.0.0 of Cake.Recipe, at the end of the first kind of execution of Cake.Recipe, it deletes all of the nupcake files associated with all the add-ins and tools. And it did that because basically it saved space. So what we found was that once we started running lots of these builds using Cake.Recipe on AppVeyor, it was taking up lots of space in the AppVeyor cache, the AppVeyor build cache. So what we ended up doing was cleaning up those nupcake files, because once the tool or add-in is extracted and placed on the file system, the nupcake isn't required anymore. So to save space, we remove them. Now, that then caused problems with the likes of Cake.Bakery, which kind of relies on that nupcake file being in place. Now, those two things are in conflict, so what we ended up doing, or what we ended up trying to do on Monday night stream, and then for various reasons, we didn't work. We wanted to make an informed decision about allowing the forcing of the deleting of the cache files, or to make it such that on a local build, the nupcake files are not deleted, but on an AppVeyor build or on a CI build, they are. So I got that working the other evening when I sat down and basically got it working. So just to try that out now, what I've done on Cake.Gitter, which is the project that I'm using as basically a test bed for Cake.Recipe, is I'll just run the build. So I'll run the build here, and if we look at what's happening here, it will Cake.Recipe runs through, downloads all the artifacts and downloads all the tools and add-ins that are required to perform this build, and it extracts those. But in here, the nupcake file is still there. And once this build completes, those nupcake files will still be there as well. So Cake.Recipe will no longer delete those by default, but in the same way that you can with almost everything in Cake.Recipe, is we could pass in a build parameter which specifies that should delete cache files equal to true. So it's false by default. You could set that to true if you wanted to. So let's just let that build run through, and we'll see that those nupcakes are still there. What's this? I'm getting a message in my chat saying, "Hi, I'm from twitch.com. Your channel has bad positions due to the small number of viewers. We will be happy to help you with your promotion. We have a lot of great features like chat, gradual build-up of viewers who will promote you to the top and will help you earn for your favorite business." Thank you for the offer, but I don't think I want that. I mean, I do this for my own benefit. If there's nobody here to watch me, I'm okay with that. So thank you for the offer, but I'm good, thanks. So that's the build completed. Bot viewers, yeah, probably Kim. I'm gonna go with Noah there. So that build has completed. If we go back to the file system, then we'll see that all of those nupcakes are still in play. So the next one that I wanted to look at was one that which one was it? It was the allowing the overriding of the version number for either the build, either the tool or the add-in. So right now, if we look at Cake.Recipe, which is here, then within add-ins, let's open that one. Within add-ins and within tools, we have this private const string that specifies what the tool version is and also where to get it from. So by default, we're just going to pull it from NuGet, but in theory, if this were to be changed, we could allow an outside build using Cake.Recipe to modify it. So right now what we have though is we don't have that for add-ins. Now, the suggestion that Kim made was that if we were to make these public properties, specifying a default value, then we would allow from the outside world as part of the build overriding of those tools. Yes, exactly. So if we were to make these public properties, we could do exactly that. Now, that would work for tools, but that wouldn't necessarily work for add-ins unless we modified how the add-ins are currently fetched. Now, the reason that I am hesitant to change too much in this area is currently Jericho's add-in discoverer looks at the files in the Cake.Recipe repository, and then it makes an informed decision about whether a new version is available, and it'll submit a pull request to change that. So any changes that we make in this area of add-ins and in tools we'll have to inform Jericho that a change has been made so that it can work, or it can continue to work. So the thing that I was curious about was whether it is enough, or let me ask this, Kim. If I were to just change all these to be public properties, the way that we do it for almost every other overridable function, and functions a bad word there, or any overridable feature of Cake.Recipe is we have something like set parameters or set tool settings. Just setting a property in line feels a little different, let's say, and rather add new properties. Well, yes and no. These are consts at the minute, so we wouldn't be able to change them. So we would need to. What I'm getting at is depending on how he is identifying each line in the file. If we change anything on this line, it might break. And yes, that's where I was going. If we were to switch tools to be a static class, we could then have a tools.setVersions as a method that then takes the default values or sets the default values and then allows them to be set, is kind of where I was going. So if everyone's on board with that, then I think that's the kind of change I was going to play with next, to then see if we can get this to work. So if we look at what we've done in tool settings, but the other thing that felt was maybe I should move it over to here. We've already got a tool settings class, and here we've got a tools.cake. I was actually wondering whether we should pull all of these things over and do it in here rather than anywhere else. But that would mean fully breaking everything that Jericho is currently doing, which I don't know how I feel about it. I'm honest, I really don't. I just don't know. So I'll look and see how we're actually doing it as well. So we say require tool with the name. And then that becomes the sharper tool, which is there. You got censored? Oh, really? How did that? Oh, so you did. So it's what? Oh, that's a little bit bizarre. It came up in the chat window that I have. I saw it, but I see on the stream it did get censored. The angle brackets, yeah. I think there are two main options: either a static class with the same initialization as the other settings classes, or through an instance class that gets populated through setup build tools function. So with the latter point, maybe. Now, what I mean by that is, I kind of want to get to a point where, from a adding new features, making modifications point, we get everything fixed. And then I was planning on doing an overhaul of the entire of Cake.Recipe to use the setup classes properly. And by that I mean probably completely getting rid of build parameters, completely getting rid of a few other things, and then doing it all within a shared type context that can then be used across all tasks. But rather than try and do that piecemeal, I kind of wanted to do that in a oneer. So get to a point where all the new functionality has been added in, we have all the overridden things that we want to be able to do, yada yada yada, and then switch to a type context so that I can then see exactly what needs to go into that type context and do that work once. And then any new functionality that gets added in will be done within the mindset of having a type context already. So that's kind of what I was thinking there. So I'm not ruling out a setup with build tools, but that would come as part of a refactoring later. So right now, my thoughts would be to move it into here. Hi, Arthur. How's it going? Arthur? How are you today? I saw that Maurice is in the chat as well, but he's not said hello yet. But he is, or maybe I missed it. Or maybe he's one of the bots that's lurking in my new gradual build-up. Oh, you're at work. Hi. Right, so in which case then, I think what I want is a new public static void. Let's try that again. Void set tool versions. Now it's not really, but let's go with it called that just now. Right. And what I want to do is, I think I want to take all of these and move them into that other one. I think. But also I was looking at how this actually works. So this is required to that has it because it's in line. So it knows about that resharper reports tool because it was inline here as a private const. So that's how that part works currently. So if we move these into public properties, then we will need to modify where it's currently being used. But that would mean leaving this as a, and that's fine too. I'm currently pondering how best to do this to limit the amount of work or rework that Jericho would need to do. I can see how I want to do it, but I don't know. Let's have a little. Let's have a little. See, that was going through my head as well. Because I like it being the entire string. Because then, if they want to use alternative sources for individual tools for reasons, then they can provide the entire preprocessor directive, including an additional source or including different include-exclude parameters. So having the entire thing there makes sense. So let's start by doing this. Let's just take them all out. We're not going to get anywhere unless we start doing something. So let's take these out. Stop procrastinating. And let's just stick these in here. Now, obviously that's going to break, but we'll start to put this back together. All of these have got semicolons at the end, so that'll have to change as a minimum. And then let's take these out. And decide what we're going to do. Let's do all the semicolons first. Maybes. I see where you're going. Oops. This is where having them would have been useful. Let's just keep going. Did I see what? Oh, I see. Did it work? I didn't actually try it. Let's go and have a look. So Maurice made a PR into my live stream repo. Look at that. Look at that. So it's a shields.io. So the same way you can do that with an AppVeyor build or an Azure DevOps build or whatever build you're using, it will change based on the current state. So it knows that I'm currently live. So it's gone red. So that was a PR that Maurice put in. So let's take all of these as inputs. And then see where we get to. So that's all of those. Oh, that's unfortunate. I said it was very good, and I said thank you for doing the PR. Because it was, I hadn't even thought to check to see whether Shields IO did things like that, but I guess it makes sense because it kind of fits in with exactly what they're trying to achieve. So that's good. Lowercase m or that's a hard one. MS build. Let's do X unit with that as well. X unit, N unit, open cover, report, fix it. Okay, so now that we've taken all of these things in as inputs, then I think we want public static properties that represent them all, and then we can use those. So we want public static string that is code cog tool, which has got the difference being that this will be a public set, or will it? No, it's going to be a private set as well, and it can only be set during the constructor. So we're going to want a few of those. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15. That was fun. So let's pull this up and let's put that back in action. This in play. Are you all packed, Maurice, for heading out on your trip? And Kim as well? Are you all packed? I'm not. I haven't packed yet. Resharper reports. Oh, resharper. That needs to come out as well. Resharper reports tool. Kudu sync tool. Kudu sync tool. YAM tool. Good. I don't know when I'm planning on packing, to be honest. I've got a few things to do before I get to go away. Unit tool. Unit tool. Unit tool. Yeah, it's... Maybe. You should have just copied the const field, changed const to static, and added. I probably should have done that. I'm halfway there now. I'm almost done. I'm over halfway there. Report generator. Report unit. That one needs to change too. There's another issue for that. Fixate. I'm probably going to take Fixate out. Don't tell anyone. And then what we want here is code cog tool equals code cog tool. So there's going to be 15 of those. So then coveralls tool is equal to coveralls tool. Get release manager tool is equal to get release manager tool. Maurice is back. Get version tool is equal to get version tool. And then resharper. Resharper. Why has that got tools in it? That's interesting. Resharper tool? I guess because there is more than one. Resharper tools. Resharper reports tools. Resharper reports tool. Resharper reports tool. Kudu sync. Kudu sync tool is equal to Kudu sync tool. YAM tool is equal to YAM tool. Getting there. MS build extension pack tool is equal to MS build extension pack tool. XUnit tool is equal to XUnit tool. NUnit tool is equal to NUnit tool. Open cover. I hope all this works after all this. Open cover tool is equal to open cover tool. Report. Can't spell report. Report generator tool is equal to report. Nope. Is equal to report generator tool. Report unit tool is equal to report unit tool. And fixate. Last one is equal to fixate tool. Beautiful. So that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15. Beautiful. Okay. So all of those things are there. So then in my build.cake file, I need to, no, not in my build.cake file, in my other build.cake file, I now have to call set tool pre-processor directives. It's a little bit more explanatory about what it's doing. but then if version dot starts with blah property equals version, else property equals tool, new get version. Maybes. So this is really related to, there was a pull request that was created for customization specifically of Git version tool. And then what was suggested in that one was that if we're going to do it for one, we should do it for all of them. And I agree with that. So it's really this one. So this is 214. So this is GH-214 allow overriding of all tool preprocessor directives. That's probably too long. Allow overriding of tool directives. Cheated. So in tools, we removed all of those consts. Oh, but then all of those consts are going to have to be updated. Yes, I did. Sorry, Maurice. I did see it. I brought it up. Look. Look at that. Very pretty. I'm going to have to go and put in a tool settings class into everyone that uses all of these, basically. So that's going to need that. That's going to need one there. That's going to need one there. That's going to need one. I should just do a copy and paste on all of them, right? No, because that will then do the ones I've already done. Let's just make a point of doing them all. See that? I had the same thought come. There's not that many. Let's just do it. You can keep me right if I break something. Or if I don't do something I should. This one. This one. This one. This one. This one. And this one. That's all the ones in testing. In tools, that's the actual tool itself. Are you did I actually break something? Or oh, dang it. Okay, I'll go back. I'll go back and fix it. Let's have a look. So tool settings dot with that on front. No, that won't find it if I put it in the wrong place. So tool settings dot resharper. Oh, that's not going to help me find it, is it? Oh, Git release manager. Look at that. Oh, spotted that, man. Oh, look at that. Totally did do that. Require tool set. Thank you, Arthur. Tool. Let's make sure I didn't do it again. Haha, look at that. Perfect. Okay. So if we do all of those things, then I'm going to YOLO this in and give it a try. So let's do it. Let's just do it. So if we go to here and I say git push upstream, then that should run me a build. That build should be version 104. And because of my get caching, I don't always get it, but if I force it, it should come down. If I go back in here and delete these tools again, let's just start from the beginning one more time. So let's delete those and delete those. So the one that we're interested in testing is really Git Release Manager. No, Git version. Git version is where this all started. So if we can say that we allow overriding of Git version, so let's jump to here. So currently in our tools.cake file, which is here, we are using, no, I can't see them in there anymore. I now have to go to tool settings. It's going to take me a while to readjust to that. Where did it go? Tool settings is here. So currently we are using version that for Git version tool. So if we wanted to pull in another version, we should be able to overwrite that. Okay, so that build's completed. So if we go over here and do build target, different target, show info, and just do one of them, like do one of the, it should download Git version, because in order to run show info, it needs Git version because it needs to stamp the version number. So we should resolve and download that tool, which is, I got an error, type expected. I broke something. Type expected on 46 and 47 of tool settings. What did I do? 46, 47, type. Is it just that? I bet it's just that. It is. A trailing comma, GH214, fix. This is why you don't YOLO things. This is why you should do things properly. But I've only got my lunch hour, so that's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. I'm going to come back to whatever that is. Come in a sec. Let me get this working. Git push git push upstream. And then it will be 105. So let's do that when it's ready. And let's clean up again. There we go. To test as many as possible solutions as possible, you could try my testing repository for Cake.Recipe. Just change setup.cake. Oh, what's that? Copy link. I think you did tell me about this once upon a time, didn't you? Test projects for testing cake recipes. So what did it do? I remember. So remind me, what's the difference between these set of tests and the integration tests that we currently have? Oh, I seem to remember. Okay, I now have a recollection of what we were doing. I may have to start incorporating some of this as well. So you said in the setup.cake, it was just where it's coming from. Changes pull the correct recipe version. Gotcha. And that would be coming from my get at the minute as opposed to from there. Okay, I'll leave this open so this will remind me to do that. And then if we do show info again, types of projects, yeah, because we were running into issues with certain project types but not others. Yes. And yeah, you're right, at the minute, the integration tests at the minute are Cake.Recipe tests of add-ins as opposed to anything else. Oh, what happened there? It's fine. It's fine, but it's not fine. That's expected, I guess, because now in my recipe.cake file, I need to do. Oh, you see, that's a breaking change all over the place as well. Tool settings dot set. That's a breaking change all over it. We'd have to go and put this into every single recipe.cake file so that it initializes everything. Not sure if I like that yet or not. But let's at least see if it works, and then I can make a decision about whether I like it or not. So then it installed the tool, which is currently 501. Fine. But let's say that for reasons you wanted to use the most recent version of Git version because you wanted to test something out. So now over here, we should be able to say that is going to be something else. So let's take what we've got at the minute, which is this, and let's go to NuGet and find out what the latest version of Git version is, because there will be a pre-release version, not in there though. What is it called? Git version.command line, this one. It's 501, but they've got a beta out. So if I wanted to pull that one as an example, we could say there, version pre-release. So that, once executed, should pull down that pre-release version. Because I changed it, effectively. That should resolve the tool. And where did it go? Why is it not there? Oh, it is. Beautiful. So it went and got the latest Git version, which is the 502 beta. We've overridden what was in Cake.Recipe. We're using a new version of the tool, and everything's still working. Okay. It's already shipped. It's already shipped, buddies. It's already gone. Add a static constructor to pre-initialize the values first. Add a static constructor. Well, we could do that. But that would mean that means a little bit of duplication, but I guess it's okay. Because we essentially need to put them all in there. Constructor could set method. It could. Okay. I'm sold. Private static tools settings. And then that's going to call this thing. Copy. I can never remember that. So for that to work, it's the thing that always lights up in Visual Studio, I'll be honest. If we do that, and we call that with setting all of those things, then they're all set, and then if someone comes in and overrides it again, then they have the option of overriding them. Okay, so this is GH214 add static constructor to prevent the need to update all existing recipe.cake files with new method call. I think I'm okay with that. So let's ship that. Good push upstream. What time of day is it? 18 minutes. This is going to be 106. So back over in Cake.Getterland. This is going to be 106. And then let's take this one out again. Save it. And let's go ahead and delete these. Let's just delete the one tool this time. Oh no, we'll delete that one too. So this time, when we run it, it shouldn't fail like it did before. It should be able to find the tool, it should be able to run it. And then we can go back into our recipe.cake file. We can add in that method that I just removed, which will give us the pre-release version of Git version ready for consumption. And I think this answers the original issue. So the original issue was be able to override tools versions. And this was from Tomas. And he was talking to me on Gitter this morning about other stuff. So I think this answers the question. There's been lots of conversation on this actually. Option. See, using environment variables is fine, but I don't necessarily like it. It should be an informed decision, I think. And it should be in the script itself. So, if that build, that's built. So now we go back to here and we say, if we do that build again, then the first time round it should give us 501 of Git version, assuming we didn't break anything. We should get 501 of Git version. There we go, 501. And it should run show info, which is good. And then if we delete that, and we go back into here, and we say undo a couple of times, let's put back in the preprocessor directive for bringing in the latest pre-release version of Git version, and we get it like that. I think I like that. I think I like it. So then that leaves a couple of questions. One is whether we should, or whether we can do something like that with add-ins. I don't think we can. Not unless we go down the route of some environment variables that can be set, but that would mean setting those environment variables. Yeah, that's kind of the thought process that's going through my head, Kim. Not now. Tools is different because those are external. You're really just calling them, whereas add-ins you're building into the Cake execution. So everything using it would need to run as which would have an overhead, lots more overhead than we currently have just now. So, no, let's not do that. Not just now. Okay, so for now, though, so I'm going to go over here and say this should have had a couple of commits associated with it, because it did. I'm going to say, okay, this should now be available in the latest version of Cake.Recipe from the myget feed. In your setup or recipe.cake file, you can now do something like the following. And I should have that in my clipboard. To override the pre-processor directive that is used to install the tool being used. So I'm going to say close and comment that. Bum, bum, bum. And I closed it. And the other one, I'm going to say, I'm going to close this PR as well. And who was it? It was Lare. L-A-R-E. I am going to go ahead and close this PR. Thank you very much for raising it, but this has been implemented in a slightly different way. In your recipe or setup.cake file, you should be able to do something like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Do it again to control the preprocessor directive for a tool you want to override. Close and comment. Oh, hold on. Kim's up to something. I actually have been playing with a little idea of an alternative recipe. The idea is that the build would be configured by the user. The recipe would create the needed scripts, if not already created, then run a new instance of Cake through all of those scripts. Now hold on. Let's back up a step there. So essentially, what's going through my head there is some sort of T4 templating for Cake scripts. So you have a pre-recipe that generates the Cake scripts and then launches another Cake process with the generated scripts in place. It's a fascinating idea. I'm trying to... So what would be configurable at that point, i.e. what scripts are pulled in and what scripts are placed on the file system ready for execution? And you would do that in the recipe.cake file, and then the entry point for the next one would be like the build.cake file. I think I like it. I think... So what I found, so to date, So if we look at the recipes that we have, I created a cake vs code recipe. I created a cake YAM recipe. There's this cake recipe. There was a suggestion made at one point that we should have a cake websites.recipe. But a lot of those recipes still have a lot of things in common, i.e. the generation of documentation, the notifications that get sent out, the analyzing tools that are used. So if I'm following your thought process correctly, it could be that this meta recipe takes as input what's currently attempting to be built. Those would be generated and placed in the file system, and then it would go gadget build. So all of that duplication that's happening across those recipes could be limited because they're being generated by one place, and then it's stitching in the right parts for the thing that you're trying to build. The idea is that the user configures exactly what they want, then create the files that is necessary to do that, nothing more, nothing less. Think CMake, but using Cake instead. It's an interesting idea, Kim. I think I like it. Now, I think it's something that needs more discussion, and it just so happens that we're going to be meeting in person. So I think we'll maybe talk about this some more next week, because I like the idea. It will create a fully finished recipe, but it needs to be configured before they are created. So do you see that, Kim, as like a yeoman generator, or something that does ship as a standalone recipe package that's extracted and built at the time of build? A standalone recipe package that just has other additional template files ready to be placed on the file system. Interesting. Cake ingredients for Cake.Recipe. I like it, Arthur. I like. Maurice, why would you cancel your flight? Why? So many great conversations to be had. So that's a debate. So we recently spoke about, I say recently, there was a discussion recently within the Cake team for calling something, and I wanted to call it ingredients because I felt that it was the right wording for it, but it didn't go down the way it did get accepted. It's not refundable. Interesting. Okay, but anyway, so it's coming to the end of my lunch hour, and I'm going to go and get some lunch before carrying on work. As I mentioned in Monday's stream, not going to be streaming on this Monday coming because I am not here, so I can't do that. And I had thought that I would be able to stream on the Friday, but life is getting in the way, and I don't think I'm going to be here Friday either. And what I mean by that is I'm pretty much certain that I'm not going to be here because I now have to drop off the children, so I won't be here. So that's all I have. We got at least one issue off of the list, so that's good. So I'm going to end the stream here, and I will see at least 2 of you on Monday. Right, looking forward to seeing you. Talk to you later.